So let me tell you about what happened this past weekend. We hosted an event where about 20 incredible individuals, 20 to 30-year-old purpose-driven entrepreneurs gathered together in this beautiful home. As you guys can tell, we're in a new section and new scene. But for many of them, it was their first time ever meeting other like-minded individuals, other people who thought like them, other people who had the same challenges as them. And these connections were incredible. Let me tell you about it. Strangers became lifelong friends in just a matter of hours.
That was impactful.
It was such an incredible thing to see. People who felt stuck finally felt understood. They finally got the answers for what has been holding them back for so many years. And they got what we like to call so many times a breakthrough. They felt like they finally met the people that they didn't even know existed, right? We often have times where we ask ourselves, is there other people like us? Is there people that think like us, that are quote unquote weird like us, like entrepreneurs are, right? And
unique.
Unique, exactly the right word. And it reminded us of something so incredibly powerful. And it is that the right tribe changes everything.
That's powerful.
It wasn't just random that this all happened. It was the philosophy of intentionality and interconnectedness. Those two things came together, and it allowed us to understand that when you build a tribe with purpose, it transforms every part of your life. If you guys see right here, this is the Truca 8. Tribe is right there, down there. And when you increase your tribe, when you improve the people that you're around, all the other aspects of your life start to improve.
I think that is something that I missed for a long time. And I'm glad that you created the Truca 8. Everybody type it in the chat. Truca 8. Truca 8. It is a Monday, and we're back live.
It is a Monday.
Episode 9 of Life by Design, the Truca Daily Live Show. And this is fun. We're just getting started. We're just getting warmed up. I think it was so powerful, though, Leo, when you started to share it in the balance of the Truca 8 with me. And I started to understand, yes, I can be great at sales, or I can be great at something. Some of you are great at health or fitness, or you're great at one of these aspects, or maybe even 2 or 3. But then you realize, some of these I'm a little low on. How do I get those up? And once those begin to come up, you start to live, like we was talking about this morning, that breath of fresh air where you go to an event, you meet amazing people, you actually start to live in that and be surrounded by that consistently.
That energy, guys, is contagious. It's what I want you guys to feel. And today, we are going to be covering how to do just that. How do you improve the tribe? How do you grow your community? And how do you surround yourself with like-minded people that love you, that understand you, that allow you to belong and speak your truth? That is what we are covering. And I'm just so excited because this just happened, guys. Last night, the past weekend, we served these individuals, and now they're doing trips all over. They're planning trips. They're talking to each other. We got all the photos. Just such an incredible time, and I'm excited to dive in this with you guys.
I have to mention this because I'm just now seeing myself on camera here on the screen. Being a country boy raised on a farm, I just realized that it looks like I'm wearing a John Deere hat. It's a Truca hat, but I swear, I just looked at the camera. I'm like, I have reverted to my farmer ways. This says Truca, but it looks like a John Deere hat. So I reminded me of a hat my awesome uncle, who always lived across the road from us, and as a farmer, would always have a green John Deere hat, and it was white on the back. So I just had to share that.
It's very on brand. Very on brand. All right, guys, I want you guys to go ahead and rate your tribe, rate your relationships, your social health, 1 out of 10. Put it in the chat because this is going to lay as our foundation for us to build upon that. A couple years ago, my tribe, my social health was always at a 2. As an entrepreneur, I didn't know other people like me existed. I didn't know someone like Andrew existed. So I put my head down and I grinded every single day, not knowing that there's such cool people out there like Andrew, right? Like the friends that we brought together over the past weekend, and like our mastermind that we've built with the same energy and the same level of committedness to their values and their purpose. And you get what I'm saying, right? Those type of
Yeah.
people.
It's one of those things you feel. Every one of us have an intuitive feeling, and you start to meet those people that you just realize like that's our people. And when you start meeting them, your life changes in a new way. And before that, I always felt extremely alone in my entrepreneurial journey, and that's a piece that changes everything.
Absolutely. So before we dive in, guys, this is not just about building your network. It's not just about, having more people in your contact list and your Rolodex. This is about attracting the right people. This is about increasing the value of the individuals. Where me and Andrew, we're such good friends, but we add so much value to each other. But also, Andrew's a high value individual. Myself, I'm a high value individual. We start to attract such high value individuals. And that type of person is someone who supports you. That type of person is the type that says, hey, you just did a deal. Congratulations. How do you feel? And they rejoice in your success. I say, Andrew, wow, I can't believe you just crushed that deal you just did last week.
Yeah.
I rejoice in that success. Let's go. And that is who we want around us. And that's what we're going to break down today, how you can walk away from this video and have the understanding and the framework to develop the value in your tribe.
So who here could see yourself in a position where you have your, even if it's just your top 3, 4, 5 people who celebrate with you every time you win? They're cheering you on. Every time you fall a little off the wagon, they're holding you accountable, saying, hey, why did you miss the gym this morning? And one day off, you're back on.
Did you hit the gym this morning?
I did hit the gym this morning.
So did I. Let's go. Did you guys hit the gym this morning? Hey, type it in the chat if you hit this gym this morning, hit the gym this morning, or went on a workout or did a run or did some type of exercise. Type in the chat yes and let me know what you did.
If you did, you put yes. If you didn't, you put not yet, because the day's not over.
Day's not over. We can still move.
Absolutely.
We jumping in?
Let's go.
All right, guys. So here's the problem. We as entrepreneurs, sometimes we struggle to find the right people. We're a little bit weird, right? Me and Andrew are weird. We get up in the morning, we meditate, we pray, and then we work out. And then throughout the rest of the day, we're grinding. We're putting our head down. We're getting lives prepared. We're doing sales calls. We're doing marketing strategy. We're doing things that most other people don't do.
Absolutely.
And when I was younger in my entrepreneurial journey a couple years ago, I couldn't find any other people who were doing the same weird things as I was doing.
Yeah.
Did you have the same experience?
100%. When I first started, of course, it was 2014 when I started my entrepreneurial journey.
How old were you?
Well, let me take that back. I was 21. I guess it started when I was like 13.
Okay.
And I bought my...
With your pigs in the pig farm?
So this actually started my first entrepreneurial journey that I did at 13 was I bought little baby calves and raised them up to feeder to half size.
Okay.
And sold them.
How much okay, so break that down. Little sheep, right?
Cows.
Cows.
Yeah.
How much did those sell for? Like a
So
little baby cow.
I would pay for the baby cow normally like $150
Okay.
for the little baby calf.
Yeah.
And then you have to, they're about that tall. I don't know if you can see on the screen. It's like
Yay tall.
2.5 feet tall.
Yeah.
And then you bottle feed them.
Okay.
And you really hope they live because otherwise you lose your entire investment. Plus, they're really freaking cute. And so we would bottle feed them until they could get off the bottle. And then we would raise them up, give them their shots, do all the things, feed them. And once they got to about half grown, that's how we raised them.
Yeah.
We would then sell them.
How much can you sell for? So you bought for $150, you raised them up.
Raised them up. So when things went really well, because prices of beef, live beef,
Yeah, right. Real beef.
Prices of cows would fluctuate. So that was one of the unknowns, kind of like the housing market when you're in real estate. And so we would be watching the cow prices. And, this is way back in, thank you. This is way back in, what would have that been? 2005,
Okay.
2004. So,
Yeah.
you didn't just Google cow prices today. You kind of had to put your
Right.
ear to the ground and listen to the radio. So we would watch the cow prices. And when prices went up, we would then sell at the peak of the market. And the best round we sold for just over or just under $1,000 a piece. We had 3 of them.
Wow.
And man, we made bank. We thought we was rich.
That's crazy. So while the 14-year-old kids right now are trading stocks and doing Bitcoin, you were doing that with cows.
Doing it with cows. There's always an opportunity. You just got to find
That's
it.
what I'm talking about. My experience there was couches. I didn't deal
Couches
with
are
cows.
cows.
I did couches. I bought couches cheap, sold them a lot more expensive. So we say that because you probably had struggle finding people who thought like you did,
Absolutely.
especially being raised in a country of, not in a country, in a city of 400
I had
people.
trouble finding people.
I was near San Francisco. There was a lot of people, but I just couldn't find entrepreneurs who thought like me. Or in my case, in high school and in middle school, I couldn't find people who even thought like me in those times when I was selling candy, when I was doing entrepreneurial things. And that's probably something that happens to you. You don't know where to look. You don't know how to approach the right people, and you don't know where the heck they even hang out at.
Right.
And the result is that you start to feel stuck. You start to feel isolated. And maybe but in the beginning, you were surrounded by the wrong influences, just like I was. I didn't have the right people around me to teach me how to think as an entrepreneur. I instead did my own thing. I did sales. I learned how to market. But on the other hand, I was surrounded by the wrong people. They were not supporting me. They were putting me in the wrong places, saying the wrong words to me, listening to the wrong music, all the things that could have led me down a really bad path. But a lot of people nowadays, they're in that place.
Absolutely.
They don't have the right influences. Maybe you're an entrepreneur, you're an investor, you're an aspiring entrepreneur that wants to build something meaningful for you and your family. But your friends, your family, your coworkers, the people around you are all not entrepreneurs. They don't value the value that you bring. And they don't see the potential that you have. And instead, they start to put poison into your mind with doubt and all these other things. So this is what happens when you're not around the right people. But Andrew, paint the vision for them. What can happen when you start to surround yourself and when you start to add value? Paint that vision, imagining as if they have that tribe that moves them forward.
Absolutely. I'll point out that my challenge was not only not finding the right people, but once I found them, knowing how to build that tribe.
Right.
So I know today you're about to show them what you showed me about once I found the people, how to build that tribe, how to become a person who attracts them. So we're excited to delve into this together. But I want you to, for a moment, just imagine in your mind. You can close your eyes if you're not driving, but imagine in your mind that you 2 years from now, and you have attracted 5 of the right people in your life, and they're cheering you on. Maybe you have a group chat going, and one of them just texted you and said, I just got another $82,000 check. And another one texts you and says, you remember 2 years ago when we started this accountability group and I lost 42 pounds? And you're feeling that excitement. Maybe you just moved into your new house, and you're telling them, hey, tonight we're going to all come over and we're going to have a cookout in the backyard. And these are people who you're excited to see. You're excited every time they call you. You're excited to celebrate with them. And you're having a cookout because you're celebrating their weight loss and you're celebrating their win. And you also know you got to do in the works that's about to come through. And so you're just collaborating and enjoying life. I want you to also, though, start to picture your life when you have, with one phone call, all the private money you need. With one phone call, the connection you need to get that next deal, that next marketing, that next promotion, that next thing that you're looking for, you're one call away from any of it. And once you start building that up, your whole life transforms in a way. My whole life transformed in a way that I never dreamed it could have.
Absolutely. Guys, write this down. Proximity. Write down proximity. Type it in the chat, proximity.
Proximity is power.
This is what absolutely changed my life. This is what changed Andrew's life once he got out of his 400-person
town
where there was absolutely no proximity. You only had 400 people. And how far were people from your house?
My uncle was across the road, and generally speaking, the neighbors were quite far away.
Okay, got it. I had neighbors all over, but I didn't have the right proximity. This means the access and the closeness to the right people. You know, in a general sense, it just means closeness. I have a close proximity right now to Andrew. But as a friendship, I have close proximity to Andrew. You know, we build businesses together. We are consistently in the same rooms, right? In different networking groups. We're in the same rooms. That's close proximity. But also in those rooms, I have close proximity with other people who are 7-8-figure entrepreneurs.
Right.
Because we've built that proximity. But I'll tell you right now, when I understood proximity, I said, how can I 10x that? How can I 10x this idea of proximity? And at the time, you know, my social media was dry. It was a desert. Nothing was happening. No likes. Maybe I'd post something, I'd get 2 likes. It was probably my mom and my girlfriend at the time were the ones that liked my posts. I had no proximity on social media. But as social media started to grow and grow and grow and grow, I realized that proximity does not just have to do this in person. Hello, my name is Leo. Proximity.
My name is Drew.
My name is Drew, right. Proximity could mean Andrew could see my face on social media and he could see the stuff I'm talking about, and that could be the same type of proximity. Now he starts to see me. Now when we see each other event, it's like, hey, I've seen you on social media before. So I really dove into this, and I was doing personal training at the time, and I started to just make content about it. Fast forward, guys, 1, 2, 3 years of making content every single day, I got to 1 million followers. And out of those 1 million followers, that was 600 million views. It was about 320 million people. Some people viewed it more than once. 320 million people that have seen my face. So when I went to events, it was such an easy thing. Everyone come up, say, hey, I've seen your content before. I had instant proximity when I went into an event. Now, this is a extraordinarily different type of story. It doesn't happen to everybody. But I want to break down, Andrew, your side of the story of starting to attract the tribe, of starting to attract proximity around you. Yeah. Because you came from a very different side. You came from a small town. I want to show them that even if someone came from a small town of 400 people selling cows, that they too can build a multi-million-dollar network. Let's talk about that, Drew.
So I think you just made me think of a tagline: flipping couches and flipping cows.
That's right. New business model.
That's right. So for me, it was 2014, and I never even knew about proximity. I didn't even know what I was doing when I heard that I could go to a seminar and learn about real estate. And so when I borrowed the money to buy a ticket to a seminar and to get gas money to go stay at a hotel for 3 days or 3 nights, 4 days at this seminar, like I had no idea I was buying proximity. I had no idea I was buying access. I just heard they was teaching this cool thing, and it was a whole new world to me. And I walked in and by accident was in proximity with multiple successful people.
What year was this?
This was 14. This was April 23rd, 2014 in downtown Atlanta, Georgia.
There you go. I don't know how you remember dates like that, but cool.
So I walk in and it's a whole new world. And I'm just sitting there like a thirsty man drinking water. You know, I'm just taking notes. I'm just in awe, like listening.
Like a sponge.
A sponge. And so walking into the room, I'm taking the knowledge, and I didn't know what you teach about being attracting the right people. I just was there to get some knowledge, and I'd paid to be there, and I took it serious. And so I think it's realizing that while we may not know all the steps, we do the step we know.
That's right.
And I knew it was an event. I knew there was people there. And if you are taking notes, write this down. Type it in the chat. TRE.
Ooh, write that
What's a
down.
TRE?
A TRE is, write it down, a target-rich environment.
To be in a target-rich environment, it can be so many things because it shortens the curve. Imagine that you go down the street and you're selling sweaters in the middle of the city and it's 90 degrees outside. Probably not going to have a lot of sales, right? Because the environment, the place is not calling for the sale of sweaters right now. It's 90 degrees. But at the same time, if you go down the same street and there's no store in sight and there's hundreds of people walking up and down the street and it is 32 degrees out and the weather was predicting it not to get that cold, you just found yourself a target-rich environment, an environment where people know that they need a sweater and you happen to have one. And so putting yourself in a place where you say, hey, where's all the people who need sweaters? Where are the people who think like me? And for me, that first step was events. Going to events where people also are excited to gain knowledge to learn how to improve their life and their money.
Wow. So taking that analogy of going to the right areas to find the right people, we can take that same analogy and philosophy in our own lives and say, okay, where can I find those entrepreneurs? We can ask the question, where do people like me hang out, and how can I get there? How can I start going to those places? But then it starts to beg another question. Okay, Andrew. Okay, Leo, I get it. I need to go to a place. I need to go to an event. I need to be around these right people. But then how do I actually make that connection?
Yeah.
How do I get out of these nerves of, oh, what if they don't like me? What if I can't connect? How do I even get their number? How do I even approach the individual? All those questions start to come up.
Yeah.
So we're going to start to answer this incredibly tough task of how do I approach, how do I find, how do I identify, how do I create these connections? So let's break down this framework. You ready?
I'm ready.
So it's going to be, write it down, identify, position, and execute.
Number 1, identify. Number 2, position. And number 3,
execute. So what does this mean, guys? So step number 1 is to identify your dream network. When me and Andrew first connected, right? I remember, again, Andrew was just a little bit bigger.
About 45 pounds.
I say that all the time to congratulate how incredible your weight loss journey has been and
Thank
how
you,
much
brother.
that has created such a different impact on other people around you, but your entire life has changed because of it.
So much so. People look at you differently.
They do.
Everything changes.
They absolutely do.
And I look at me differently.
So when I went to the first event, all of a sudden I was surrounded by these great people, right? And when I first met Andrew, what stuck out to me so much was his mind, his way of thinking. And I felt like I couldn't bring enough value at the time, but I would listen to their conversations. I would listen to the way that Andrew talked about money. I would listen to the way they talked about taxes. I would listen to the way they talked about the way they travel. And that intrigued me so much. And I started to say, these are the people I want to be around. How do I be around them more? When I went back to my hotel room that next day, I started writing all the people that I wanted to be around. I wanted to be around people who knew about money. I wanted to be around people who understood the value of connections. I wanted to be around people who were smart, who were talented, and had a really good heart. And of course, Andrew was someone who's always had a really good heart. So that next day, I go to this event, super nervous. I'm 18. My voice is still cracking. All the things are happening. And I walk in with this new understanding of who I need to meet. And everywhere I look, I start seeing people like Andrew, right? And of course, I went to this event, so everyone there was that person. But when you go to an event, you're going to meet hundreds of people, but maybe only a small percentage of those people are your target-rich environment, are the people that you really want to be around. So out of those 100 people, I said hello to everyone, boom, boom, boom. But I looked for the people who were like Andrew, who had a good heart, who understood a lot about business and were willing to share. But I also had to be the person that was willing to take it in and add value, which is what we'll talk about next. What goes through your mind as I say this example of meeting someone saying, okay, I want to be more around that type of person.
Yeah.
Let me think about it and then go to those people, find those people.
So something you taught me when we started hanging out was to be intentional. And that was something I never knew before, never had paid attention to before. Tony Robbins says, if you want an extraordinary life, surround yourself by extraordinary people. And it strikes me that that's exactly what you're doing. And you was doing it in a calculated, brilliant way, saying, okay, I'm going to go to this place where there's a lot of high-level, incredible people. I can choose from all these people that I want to be around. You know, you can't meet and spend a ton of time with 100 people in 2 days. Like, you have to pick who, where, what to spend your time. So you start to dial out, all right, what type of person? Who do they know? How do I add value to them? And that was something you was so good at. And it stuck out to me, not before I even realized like what you were doing, as you started to help me with my social media, help me with my weight loss. Everything you did was to make my life better and to become great friends.
That's right.
And so it became so easy to have a trade of value and fun in that interaction. And sometimes I always tell people, become fun to say yes to. Type it in the chat. Be fun to say yes to. If people are constantly telling you no, maybe it's because you're not yet fun to say yes to.
Right.
And so I decided I wanted to become someone who was fun to be around and fun to say yes to.
Let's use this example, right? Okay, I'm meeting you for the first time. I'm 18. You're 21 again.
21 again. Thank you.
And I say, Mr. Andrew, can I pick your brain? Can you mentor me? Right. I'm asking this question. Can you mentor me?
Immediately, my mind goes, crap, somebody wanting to suck my brain and energy for free.
That's exactly right. Anytime I've seen it many times, they say, can I pick your brain? And it starts to beg the question, why that hurts? Why would I let anyone pick my brain? It's we're
I like my brain.
Exactly.
I want to keep it.
But if I say, Andrew, I noticed on social media the engagement was a little bit low.
Yeah.
I studied for about an hour and a half on the best strategies that you can use. Do you have 15 minutes for me to kind of show you what you can do on it? It'll only take 15 minutes. I'll also buy you a coffee.
Heck yeah. I've been needing to get my social media up. I wasn't sure how to do it.
Absolutely. So this is a thing where we're jumping from identify to number 2, position yourself now. But I really wanted to emphasize what it means to be fun to say yes to.
And you not only done that masterfully, but it was in the same time period where I probably, when I met you and you done exactly that with me, I'd probably met 10 other people in the last 10 days who had the I want to pick your brain conversation.
Right.
When do you have time to give me what I want is essentially what that says.
Exactly.
And I think
can I borrow 20 hours of your time?
Exactly.
For free. And give you nothing.
You understand, and without, at the risk of sounding egotistical, people of wealth, people of confidence, or people who have an incredible life, look for people who also add value to their life. Do they want to help? Yes. But all of us have experienced, you've experienced a person. Can I say the word freeloader?
You can say whatever you want. It's our show.
We have free speech now. So we have,
literally,
all of you have at some point experienced that freeloader. Every time you go to dinner, they forgot their wallet. Every time that the phone rings, they need you to come and do something for them. Every time you see their name pop up, you go, crap, because you know that they're trying. And so all of you experience that. And when you start to position yourself as that, you immediately lose power. But the moment you say, I want to help you in this area, everything shifts.
So we're going to bring this back to the framework. Essentially, don't be that person, but also that's someone you don't want around you. So identify that, guys. I'll ask this question. Who are the people you need in your life? Think about the 3 categories: mentors, your tribe, and customers. These are 3 categories that we put on just to simplify that focus. Who do you need as your mentors? When I was lost, when I was 18, I had no idea what to do. All I knew how to do was what my ego told me to do. Go do this, go figure it out, and you'll be the best at it. It didn't lead me in the right direction. But when I finally said, who can teach me this? And when I find that person, how can I add just such the most incredible amount of value to them where I don't waste their time? Not a single minute of their time is going to be wasted when they see me. That was my mentality with mentors. When it came with tribe, it was who can I add the most value to while they're also adding value to me? It's a reciprocal relationship, but it's the people that
abundance.
Back to abundance. There's so many people out there that are like you. You just have not put out the effort to find those people. And this is what this lesson is teaching. It's how to attract that. And then lastly, it is customers. You want to talk about that piece?
Absolutely. That's important. As you're bringing customers in, everyone in our world should be a potential customer, because I love to buy things. I also love to sell things.
Right.
And when you sell something that you know improves the life of everyone you sell it to, then everyone in your life should be a potential customer. If I have a miracle vitamin that makes everyone feel better. I don't sell multi-level, by the way. But if I had an amazing vitamin that makes everyone around me feel better, and everyone suddenly comes back and goes, like, I have 10x the energy, bro.
Right.
Like I feel amazing. I've not felt this good for years. Then by all means, everyone who comes into my world, I should be excited when the time is right and appropriate to let them know about this incredible gift that I have for them. And as it relates to understanding your mentors, your tribe, and your customers, putting yourself in the right rooms, and you're always going to identify them by asking the great questions, asking the right questions, and listening intently to the answers, to the feedback, because everyone is giving you feedback. It's just sometimes we're not listening.
So wrapping it back to step number 1 of identify. The action step for you is to write down the type of person who you want around you. And then ask, where do they hang out? And then ask, who do they know? When you sit down and you ask those 3, you'll start to find out the exact type of person that is in your filter of who you want to attract and who you want to find. Because we know there's billions of people out there. But now as we just simplify these 3 questions, you plug it in, and those billions turns into maybe 200,000. Now your job is just to find those 200,000 people. But it makes it so much easier to identify that person, where if you're having a coffee conversation, in the first 5 minutes, you know whether they are a heart-driven mentality, if they're purpose-driven. You know if that person is a freeloader or someone who is a servant's heart. You know if that person's kind or not. But if you have all those metrics down of the type of person that you want, you know how to judge. You know how to say, I want this person, I don't want this person. And it's just honest, because we don't have enough time on this beautiful earth to try to allow everybody into our lives. It wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't be fair to our families. It wouldn't be fair to the business. So that is step number 1, identify your dream network. Now, step number 2, we talked a little bit about, but I want to really dive into it, but it is position yourself. Type it in the chat, position yourself. Now we were talking about adding value first. You want to go into that just a little bit more?
So first thing I always look for, and what you taught me, was rather than just having a conversation and brain dumping to the person I'm talking to, and maybe if I get lucky, somebody somewhere has a synergy with me, is to ask questions and find out what's important to them. If I find out what's important to the person I'm talking to, now I can immediately, in a matter of seconds or minutes, identify what it is that's important to them and how I can best serve them. And especially when you're talking to people you want in your circle, people who are probably busy as you're busy, business owners, people of wealth, people who are high-level individuals that you want to be around, they don't have time for nonsense. And when you can come to them with a value proposition in a short order and ask them questions and let them talk to you about their life, you now have insights and you go, oh, I know this is where I could add value to them.
So here's a bit of a difference in terms of questions. We meet, hey, my name is Leo Valentino. What do you do? Versus, hey, how are you? What's your name?
My name's Drew.
Drew, where are you from, Drew?
I was raised in Belle Rive, Illinois. I now live in California.
Wow. So you're telling me Belle Rive, Illinois,
Yeah.
I don't even know where that is. Belle Rive, Illinois to California. How did that happen?
Oh, this is good. And I see you
Right?
do that when we're traveling.
Instant.
Because immediately people who moments ago had just met 10 people, oh, I do this. Cool. I do this. Awesome.
Right.
See ya. Immediately they go, oh my gosh. So actually what happened was I got an opportunity. I met
Right.
this bop, 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 and they start telling you a whole story.
Imagine for a second, I use this analogy and it's funny to me. But imagine for a minute, everyone was chicken. Okay? You were chicken. I was chicken. Our team is chicken. Everyone's chicken.
We had chickens on the farm too.
We did. We also have a lot of chicken because we never mind. We are all chicken, and our jobs in humanity is to try chicken, right? You have to eat as many chickens as possible. That's just how chickens connect. Don't think about it too much. And every day for the last 5 years, or for the past year, you've been eating such bland chicken. Like, you ever had dry chicken that was just so not good?
Yeah.
Like, it was
Tough
just
to eat.
rough.
Tough
It
to
was just
swallow.
gross. No seasoning on it. And you've just been tired of this chicken. But all of a sudden, you try this one chicken and it's seasoned to perfection. It is cooked the tenderest, as nicest bite you've ever had. Just the juiciest slice of chicken. You're going to sit back and you're like, wow, that was something.
It was some good chicken.
That was some good chicken.
You're making me hungry.
A week later, all you can think about is that chicken. 2 weeks later, all you can think about is that chicken. A year later, you're still dreaming about that chicken. That's what happens when you go from, hey, what do you do? To, hey, miss, how are you? How you feeling? Man. And you're starting to give that energy out.
Night
and you're
and day.
asking questions like, what is your passion? Tell me about your passion. What is that Truca? I really love that Truca hat. What is that all about? And you're asking these type of questions that show this type of energy and charisma versus being a boring slice of chicken. All right. Everyone type in the chat, I was going to say a long thing. Be a seasoned person. Be a seasoned person. Have some spice. Have some charisma. Have something that is unique about you. And the biggest thing that God made everyone have something unique of is their energy, is their personality, and is their aura that they bring forward to everyone.
Just like you have a unique, one-of-a-kind thumbprint, you have a unique, one-of-a-kind gift and personality and special abilities that were given to you, God-given. And I think as you start to see yourself as that unique king's kid that you are, at least for me, it started to change everything. And I've seen you over and over, and I think everyone listening to this, you guys will find this fun. Over and over when we travel. We love to go on international trips. We just went to Japan over your birthday. And everywhere we go, I always watch. I always learn something because I watch you interact. And what could have been a normal interaction with the person at the Airbnb or a normal interaction with the person at the restaurant suddenly becomes a 3 to 5 minute conversation of them loving you, of them enjoying hearing what it is you do, and half the time following you on Instagram or somewhere because they're connecting. And that's how I've seen you create friendships all over the world, because I'm telling you guys, you'll love to know this. We hop into an Uber. Most people hop in an Uber. It's a 10-minute ride to the place, right? Uber ride, done. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Uber driver. Get out. Not Leo. Leo, by the time we get to our first location in a new country, he has at least 3, maybe 5 of that country's language that he already knows, and probably the top 3 restaurants and the top 5 hangout spots. Why? Because he asks great questions and he becomes interested over trying to be interesting.
I love that. So, tying it back to positioning yourself, it's so important to ask these genuine questions because you position yourself as a unique person, right? We love novelty. As humans, we love novelty. It's as simple as when someone asks you a different question of what is your passion versus what do, you like the novelty. You like the person to ask you what their passion is because it shows that they genuinely care and they've put work in their communication style. Now, when it comes to positioning yourself, the greatest things that I've ever seen, the greatest tactic, the greatest strategy, the greatest honest attribution to a person is when they have a servant's mentality. This means instead of me keeping the conversation about me, I'm going to keep the conversation about Andrew and see how can I add value to Andrew. I find out his challenges. I find out his passion. I find out that he needs XYZ. It is my job to see if I know anyone in XYZ. He needs to find a lender. It's my job to find him a lender. I might know somebody. He might need a designer. I might have a designer. I might want to design something myself and say, hey, one of my passions is learning how to design, just learning in general. Can I, what I'll do, just shoot me the vision or tell me the vision right now. I'm going to write it down so you don't have to do anything. Just say the vision. Boom, boom. Okay. What's your email? I'm going to send you something in the next 2 hours. I'm going to work on it during break. Andrew had to do nothing. He didn't have to send me a text. He didn't have to do anything. He just had to speak and tell me his email and tell me his vision. That is a servant's mentality.
100%.
I know Andrew's a busy man. I'm not going to make him even take a second to text me. I'm going to do all the work because that is what a servant is here for. And when you have that mentality with everyone that you meet, some great, incredible things happen. You stop being a freeloader. You stop wasting people's time. Stop wasting people's time.
Yeah, we talked about step 1, identify. Step 2, position yourself. Your actionable here is asking yourself, how can I lead with value? How can I make a meaningful impression? And I've seen people who, and at the risk of sounding harsh, my prayer would be that you hear this direct discussion and it gives you some meaningful action to take to improve your life and improve the people around you or add to the people around you. And what you just described was polar opposite from people I've seen who have the victim mentality, who walked up to somebody, asked to pick their brain, and sent them a text and said, they didn't even text me back.
Right.
Well, why not? And so you start now instead.
Those are the best people. We love those type of people.
Instead of being what I call a victim mentality, now you're taking ownership and saying, how can I add value? How can I make a meaningful impression? And in order to do that, you must be thinking, what is the other person thinking, and how can I get in their mind? How can I get in their psyche? How can I add a value to them that is different than the other 789 people they just talked to?
And it's not thinking less of yourself.
Right.
But it is allowing yourself to have the humility to say, how can I serve first? Because people are busy. You're busy, right? You want to make sure when you meet someone, that someone can take a percentage of your mind. That person is now someone that is in your world, can massively influence you. I want to make sure it makes sense to have the person around me.
Yeah.
Right? But if the person has a servant's mentality, I have a servant's mentality as well. So it's going to be a symbiotic relationship.
I think something important to note here, because I struggled with low self-esteem. And so I felt not good enough to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
Years ago, as I was coming into that world, like I was just honored somebody would talk to me.
Right.
And something that I learned was that pride, arrogance, thinking I'm better than everyone else, and low self-esteem, thinking that I'm not worthy of talking to someone, is actually the same thing.
Mm.
It's me thinking of me. It's either me thinking I'm amazing and overthinking of myself,
Yep.
right, in a negative turns to negativity, or it's me underthinking but still of myself.
Wow.
Gosh, I'm not good enough to talk to them. I'm not this or I'm not that. Are they going to think this? The moment the mind flips, it's not arrogant, but it's also not low self-esteem, and it's going, how can I serve them? Of course I want to look nice. Of course I want to dress nice. Of course I want to smell fresh. Of course I want to take care of myself. But my mind, I've already took care of that in the mirror before I left the house, right? So now my mind is solely on how can I serve this guy? How can I serve this lady? How can I add value to their life? And it is not about me.
Type it in the chat, guys. Add value first. Add
that's
value
big.
first.
Add value first.
So this leads us to step number 3, guys, which is, type it in the chat, execute. What you're going to do is you are going to take an action that aligns with your vision. That action might mean going to a target-rich environment. It might mean going to an event. Of course, we throw events for this purpose to help you build your network, to help you increase your wealth, to do all these things that entrepreneurs need because we need it the most. But just choose one event to go to this quarter. Attend one event that aligns with your vision. We talked about that. We talked about aligning with your vision because you identified who you need. You identified the vision of the people that you want around you. Now find an event, now find a place, now find a target-rich environment where those people hang out. Because when you put those two together, now you're taking the action. Now you're finding the right people around you, and your life can change when you do that. Your life really does change. What do you have to add to that?
I think we underestimate often the power of what you said earlier, proximity.
Yep.
And everything that we want in life comes from other people. And it doesn't mean, something I had a very big misconception about was, gosh, if someone gives me something, that means they have less. And that's not at all the case, because we have partners who make us money and we make them money, and we both make more than we would if we didn't. Right? And so when you start to understand abundance, now you realize I can add value to everyone around me who is a high quality person, and I can receive incredible value, and the cycle never stops. So I think it just comes down to just being very clear. What's that action I need to take? What event do I need to go to? What is some things I can do to move that needle now?
So guys, your tribe is not just about who is around you. It's not just about scrolling through your contact list and think that that is your network. That is the people in your tribe. It's really about fulfillment. It's about freedom, opportunity, and feeling every day that you have the support that you need. You know, as business, as life goes up and down, that those people in your tribe really have your back in the ups and the downs.
Something Zig Ziglar says is, you never build a business, you build people, and people build business.
That is a writer downer right there. Really think about that, because these quotes that we hear so much, right? You are the average of the 5 people, right? All these quotes have to do around tribe. All these quotes have to do around people and the relationships that you build. And that's why this framework is so important. And when we talk about the Truca 8, this framework right here, when you build your tribe, guess what? The other aspects of your life start to improve. We know this universal law that if you have more people around you, there's more opportunity. If you have more of the right people around you, you have more of the right opportunities. When you have more of the right opportunities, you have more financial opportunity. You build your business more. You're making more money. When you're doing that, the other aspects of your life start to continue to grow. And that is tying it back to the Truca philosophy. But you wrote something down from the Bible. I want you to break that down. I'm actually interested. We're always studying the Bible and how it relates to our topics.
In the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 2, it talks about 2 walking together. It says 2 men walking together is better than 1, because if one falls down, they can lift the other up. And I totally paraphrase. That's not a word-for-word quote. The principle that I have found there and the wisdom I found there has been so true, because many times in entrepreneurship, in business, in life, we get knocked down. Like,
Right.
It's inevitable. You will get knocked down. And so it's going, okay, how do I make sure I have my tribe there before I do? At least one other person who can be accountability partner, someone I can hit up and say, like, and I got knocked down. Now, two things happen. One, some people have trouble finding that person. They're an incredible soul who just needs to connect to the right event, the right place. And I've also met other people who were living in a fallen down state. And so whoever it was who used to be that accountability partner got tired of dealing with someone who never was lifted up. And I think that that is a understanding of the value trait. How do I be the person who lifts up others? Because I may need to give what I most need. And how do I also become the person who attracts those people that when I am knocked down, somebody reaches out a hand and lifts me up?
Absolutely, guys. So just remember that every big opportunity in our lives comes from the people that we're surrounded by. We know that for our lives, and we know that for a lot of you guys' lives, is the opportunities come from great people. So the tribe is so important. So one of the most important things you can do this quarter is to get a part of an event. Be a part of an event. So, Andrew,
Yes.
we have an event.
Yes, we do.
And the question for them is, if you are ready to build that tribe, and if you are ready to get to your next level, we have a number right there. What should they do?
You should text the word event to 940-468-7852 and get yourself tickets. I think they're 90 or 95% off, majorly discounted. I don't remember the exact amount. Don't hold me to that. Massively discounted tickets to the upcoming live event that we're having in beautiful San Diego, California.
Absolutely. We thought we were going to do something in 2025, which is really focus on the people that are coming at this event and giving them no reason not to come.
Absolutely.
That's what we said. Andrew, how much do you want to do % off? And Andrew said, we'll do the most we've ever done, which is the 20% off. And I said, what if we doubled that? And we kept going down this hole of saying, why don't we just make this the easiest event to come to? Because we want to add so much value to you guys and allow you to come to this event, meet each other, and see the value that we bring first. See the value that we bring in person and start building that tribe around you and see how incredibly valuable that can be just because you made that first jump.
So we're giving out tickets for the price of a decent dinner, the price of a couple California coffees.
Oh, 4 of them.
And so hop in there, text the word event to 940-468-7852. Grab your tickets. We're going to hang out. There's going to be well over 100 incredible entrepreneurs, like-minded people doing business, making money. There's going to be incredible connects in the room and something you don't want to miss. Every time I get around the right people, and I think this is important for all of us to live, every time I get around a expanded group of target-rich environment folks, good people, great-minded people, a whole new world opens up to me I never dreamed of. Sometimes it's financial. Sometimes it's mindset. Sometimes it's fitness. Sometimes it is the unexpected partnership or friendship, the unexpected accountability. And I know that you can never do yourself harm by adding more greatness into your life. That's what we want to help you do this year on this daily live stream and at the live events that we're going to be doing, meeting so many of you.
Absolutely. So tomorrow we're going to be back and we're going to be talking about marketplace ministry.
Marketplace ministry, a fun topic, man. I'm excited to dive into that one.
I always had the question of, okay, how does the Bible relate to business? Yeah. Right? I've always had that question. And we're going to answer those questions tomorrow, same time, 12 p.m. PST. Make sure you guys text event one more time to 940-468-7852. We will see you guys tomorrow.
Tomorrow, same place, same time.
Rock and roll. Peace.